Hello, friends, and welcome to the weekly moon update for the week of March 25th through the 31st. We've got our Libra lunar eclipse this week. First thing. So, hooray, we have a lunar eclipse first thing on Monday, and I want to talk a little bit about why I focus on moon energy when there's all sorts of other astrological stuff going on also at the same time. The reason I focus on moon energy here is because the moon is the closest, it's not a planet, but it's the closest rock to us. And like we're in this thing together. The earth and the moon have this relationship. The moon represents our emotions and how we feel. And I believe that like we are capable of controlling how we feel. We know that our emotions are related to water. We know that the moon controls water, has like literally scientifically speaking, has the ability to control the movement of water. And that's why we have the tides. And that's why I feel like we being made up of 60% water is why the moon has so much effect on us. And I think that we can tap into that energy and use it in a positive way versus just kind of being impacted by all of these invisible influences and not being in control of it. I believe that we can be in control of it. And we can be in control of our emotions as well. So much about learning how to use discernment and to be a priestess in the world is learning not to be so volatile and reactive to the things that we encounter in our life. So by learning to control your emotions and learning how to coincide or just like using the moon as a tool to help you control your emotions is how I have personally combated having a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, because the moon is always there for you. It's very constant. Everything that goes on within the sky is like has a natural rhythm and a cycle, and it's not going to break. The movements within the sky is predictable. So you're able to predict how you might feel or react on a specific day based on the moon's energy. And the reason I bring this up this week when we're getting ready for a lunar eclipse is because lunar eclipses can be very volatile and can cause you to be reactive. So when we're aware of these things, we might not we can choose to react in a different way and choose to react in a more positive way. And this is a Libra eclipse. So Libra is ruled by Venus. So we're talking about our emotions. Again, we're talking about matters of the heart, how we feel about things, and our relationship to those feelings and our relationship to others. Because I know we talk about balance and the scales with Libra, but the house that Libra rules is the house of relationships. So it's how we interact with each other. And these might be situations with other people that the eclipse might be presenting for some of us. So let's get ready for this potentially emotional eclipse week. So the beginning of this week, we have our full moon. And that means that the rest of the week will be a waning gibbous. Waning meaning decreasing and gibbous meaning more than half full. Okay, so we are starting this week off with a bang. We only entered Leo Sunday late afternoon at around 4:30 p.m. I think it was Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to put us into the full moon energy Sunday evening, and then the moon is technically full at 3 a.m. Monday morning, and then the eclipse is happening at 3:13 a.m. Monday morning. So I think the last full moon, we were kind of hanging out in the Virgo energy, and then the moon was full kind of towards the end of that. So it was like we were kind of hanging out in this full moon energy for a while before the full moon, but this is kind of the opposite. So it's going to be like we're hanging out in Libra energy kind of after the full moon. I always just like to mention that because you might want to do your full moon activity Sunday evening, or you might want to you can do your full moon activity like Monday or Tuesday evening even, because we don't start to transition until 7:08 Tuesday evening, and then we'll officially be in Scorpio at 5:03 a.m. Wednesday. So basically Sunday to Tuesday is like your full moon window. Because the full moon energy kind of lasts around 1 to 3 days. But I personally like to make sure that I'm in that sign at least when I'm doing any sort of spell work or working specifically for the full moon. I like to do it when we're in that same zodiac sign. But that's just me personally, because technically you do have that 1 to 3 day window. I know I talked a little bit about this earlier. Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of love and relationships. So I feel like this lunar eclipse is going to bring up some emotions specifically about relationships, or specifically about like your relationships with other people, or your relationship to yourself, or to, I'm really feeling there is this relationship with spirit, relationship with your guides, relationship with your guardian angels, relationships with, things on the other side. That's just kind of the feeling I get from the cards that we have this week. And kind of the information that's been coming up in readings and the cards that we had last week. There feels like this need for spirit connection at this time, and I think as more and more people are waking up and opening up to different ideas, I think like this eclipse is going to kind of like give that a really big boost. I do see that because there's a lot of different astrological stuff going on, and I've seen other astrologers talking about how this moon could have a very big emotional impact on a lot of us. So be wary of, as we're heading into the work week on Monday, that emotions might be bubbling up to the surface for not just you, but also other people. So keep that in mind with the people that we're interacting with. We are moving into Scorpio on Wednesday, early Wednesday morning at 5:03 a.m. So this is bringing us into a water sign, taking us from like being aware of our emotions, because Libra is an air sign, can help us connect to that wisdom and knowledge that we have access to in the air element. So making us aware, giving us the wisdom and knowledge that we need to process these emotions, hopefully. And then Scorpio might actually like be that outlet of release and feeling, especially now because we're moving into the waning cycles. Scorpio helps us understand and dive deep in like what is the root cause of these emotions. So I feel like this whole entire week is kind of this big explosion on Monday, and then kind of this day crescendo throughout the week, kind of processing everything. And so we're going to be in Scorpio energy Wednesday, Thursday, and for a lot of Friday as well. The moon will not move into Sagittarius until Friday late afternoon. So lots of emotional water energy happening throughout the middle of this week. And then our weekend is lighting that fire again, feeling inspired. Okay, so I process this thing, like once you process things, you feel better. Once you release things, you feel better. Once you clear out the clutter and get rid of the things that aren't serving you, you feel good. You feel this like burst of energy and this wave of excitement. And that can really be enhanced with Sagittarius fire energy, because Sagittarius is just ready for the next best thing. They're ready to move on. Okay, we sloshed through the sticky and the dark and the difficult to process things, and Sagittarius like, okay, let's go. I'm ready to move on. So we have this nice fiery weekend after what might feel like a intense emotional, conflictive between relationships kind of week. So overall, I kind of look at this week as this big burst of energy. And even through last week, we could feel that pull towards this full moon, this kind of like anticipation that something is coming, something big is going to happen. And then Monday is this big burst of like, okay, this is being revealed. And then it almost kind of feels like downhill energy throughout the week. And the flow of it is really nice. Like that air element can help you just gain a different perspective and understand things a little bit better with the Libra air energy. And then the water of the actual like release of it and the process of it and the flow of it. And then the fire of the, okay, let's pick ourselves back up. Let's like get started again. Let's get that fire going again. Okay, so I actually was feeling called towards the angel deck again this week, but I was like, no, we did the angel deck last week and I just wanted to do something different. So I was feeling called to like the red backs of this Alice in Wonderland by Lucy Cavendish deck. So I tried to pull, well, I did pull from this deck, but then I was like, okay. We'll pull from the angel deck again because it really wanted to be used today. So our Alice card is nature communication. The keywords are flower energies, fairy energies, and elemental messengers. So I feel like there is this call to connect with spirits, angels, guides, guardians, and this can include the elementals and the fairy energy. So I think they both they wanted me to remind you that like fairies are angels too, or fairies are spirit guides too, or elementals can be spirit guides too. Maybe this video might be reaching a lot more people that maybe have a more elemental and fairy connection versus the angelic connection. But either way, so, oh, tiger lily, said Alice, addressing herself to one that was waving gracefully about in the wind. I wish you could talk. We can talk, said the tiger lily, when there's anybody worth talking to. So with this card, Alice thinks that because the flowers are, well, flowers, that they cannot speak, reason, or communicate. They are not like her, and therefore she thinks that they cannot ever understand or connect with her. Alice assumes the same applies in the opposite direction, but to her surprise, the flowers in the world of Through the Looking Glass can speak, and they are very critical, very picky, and very aware of their choices. While they also make assumptions, thinking Alice to be a flower like them, yet unlike them, they reveal that most of the time they do not speak because they feel there simply isn't anybody worth talking to. Alice then realizes the flowers have recognized her as someone worth talking to, perhaps because she has praised their beauty and simply wished to be able to communicate. She also has humility and a desire to understand. When this card comes to you, do not make assumptions about people, creatures, or beings who seem too different for you to communicate with. There is always a way to bridge the gap between us. If you request for these beings to speak with you and stay open to that possibility, there will be communication. This is especially important when working with the plant kingdom, trees and flowers, elementals, and fairy energy. Be a person worth communicating with, open your heart and mind, and express your desire. In that way, new bonds and cords of understanding can grow between the human world and the wonders all about us. So I feel like this card is speaking to kind of a couple of different things that we can use in preparation for this week. Is number one, what I said earlier, just reaching out to animal communication. Spirit communication, spirit animal communication, the fairies, the elementals, the angels, like reaching out for help from the spirit world when you need it. But I also feel like this is also kind of addressing that, like, to be kind to everybody. We should always be kind to everybody, but especially this week when emotions and there's this like intensity in the air. So remember, we don't know anybody's story, and we don't know what anybody else is going through. So just try to always be kind. It also has this very springy nature to this card, which the natural world is waking up this week because we just passed the spring equinox. The divination of this card says you are being asked not to communicate assumptions. Be open to possibilities that seem to be outside rational exception. Attempts to communicate with beings from other realms, within nature, spiritual planes, or even just humans, it is thought there is no chance of speaking to or being understood by. Be more lateral and less literal about the ways communication can take place. Be a being worth communicating with. This will go far. And I do want to read the reverse message because it did come. This deck has reversed meanings and uses reversals, but I've kind of found that both of the meanings, the reversed and the upright, can kind of apply to situations. Like whenever I pull a reverse card from this deck, the reverse meaning just doesn't always fit, and a little bit of the upright meaning also fits. So I'm just using both meanings because what seems to have been coming up for while working with this deck. So anyways, the reverse meaning can mean stubbornness, refusing to approach language from a different perspective, assuming signs and communication must fit in with your own, assuming things about other beings without really tuning in, and refusing to expand your capacity for understanding. So I kind of think the reverse meaning speaks again to what I was saying about being kind to everybody because we don't know anybody's story. And if you are experiencing conflict, remember that it could be you that is instigating things, whether you're aware of it or not. So just to be mindful of like the things that we say and be mindful of being kind to others when we don't know everything there is to know about the situation. Okay, and Judiel is our archangel for today. And his keywords are leadership and endeavor. The angel of figureheads, Judiel's name means laudation of God, and he helps us to feel qualified to step into our own guiding and leadership roles. Like his image in the oracle, Judiel is often depicted wearing a crown and carrying a three-pronged whip, representing the divine authority of the Holy Trinity. He is linked with the Sacred Heart, helping us to recognize our own Christ consciousness so that we may live heaven on earth and teach it to others. If you are in a position of authority, ask Judiel to help you act with integrity at all times and to acknowledge the true power is the power of love, not the love of power. I'm going to read that line again. Remember to acknowledge that true power is the power of love and not the love of power. My first recollection of the name Judiel was during a healing session I once had while on a retreat in Ibiza after starting a new position at work. With my eyes closed, I felt a powerful angelic presence beside me and clearly heard the name Judiel. Oh, pronounced as Yehudiel. Yehudiel. So the J is pronounced like a Y. I had a vision of a golden crown being placed on my head. Like the indigenous Rapa Nui warrior on this card, this archangel is a patron of all who work in some field of endeavor. His crown symbolizes the reward of spiritual labors. As an advisor to all who hold positions of responsibility and authority, he watches over kings, queens, presidents, judges, and others in position of power, ensuring that they still remain true to God's work. He is also known as the bearer of God's merciful love. His message is, I am assisting you with your spiritual endeavor. You are a natural leader. Stay true to your integrity. So I feel like why maybe this angel wanted to come through for this week, even if you don't consider yourself a person of power or leadership. I think that this can speak to using the discernment that like a leader would do. And if you are in a conflict, if you're in an intense situation, if there's some sort of obstacle that you encounter this week, and specifically around the lunar eclipse, that you can take the higher road, be the bigger person, or just be the one that is going to speak up for those who can't, or just to be that light and that beacon in a dark situation, dark or potentially negative situation. So our chakra card for this week is tenderness. There is a strength in softness and a softness in strength. You have learned to demonstrate both with such agility and grace. Your capacity to love knows no boundaries, which grants you the spaciousness to give and receive love freely. Rise in love, stand in love, expand in love, be in love. Love is the core and the essence of who you are. Let your tenderness show in all that you do. Be a gentle voice in the world, a tender touch, a warm embrace, and a soft whisper. This is a heart chakra card. The crystal they recommend is pink tourmaline, and the herb is cayenne. So I think this is yet another message of being kind to others, but also a reminder to be kind to yourself as well. Hold your heart, protect your heart, be kind and gentle with your heart, because matters of the heart are going to be coming up for this Libra full moon. And last but not least, our crystal is celestite. Celestite connects you to your higher self and calls in your angels. In fact, this crystal grants direct access to the angelic realms and the Akashic records. Celestite activates the throat chakra, connecting you with your truth and authentic voice. It reminds you that no matter where you are on your journey, your angels are with you, providing love, healing, and support. The affirmation is, my angels are always by my side. So yet another reminder, just like this angel card wanted to come up, you can call on UDL to work with this week. If you are not an angel person and want to work with the elementals and the fairies, they are there too. Or if you just want to connect with your spirit guides or your ancestors, it sounds like this week might be a good week to try it. I think I have a little celestite here. I think I have a Let's Get Stoned on it. If I don't, I will have one coming up. So celestite is this very, very light blue. It's very soft and delicate. This is a tumbled piece, but it actually has like some dents in it from just even dropping it on the table. And from being, I used to have it in the crystal bowl, which is just a bowl I have with a bunch of random tumbled crystals in it. And it gets a little beat up. It's very soft on the Mohs hardness scale, which I think is kind of perfect for this week because we're being asked to be gentle and kind to our poor, soft, tender little hearts this week. So that is the energy for this week. Thank you for joining me today. Remember to be kind and gentle to yourself. Ask for help from your angels when you need it, and to be kind and gentle to your fellow humans this week. We're starting this week off with a big bang, and we will be able to go downhill. Think of that downhill energy of more ease and flow, no matter what you encounter this week. Thanks again for hanging out with me. We'll see you next time on the other side of the looking glass. Oh, didn't that hurt? We can't see you. We can't go down any lower.